Hi everyone, I'm Melaine. Do you want to hear a short and interesting story about Henry? Do you know who Henry was? Listen to this story and you will find out very soon. Henry by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond was born in Himachal Pradesh and now lives in Mussoorie, Uttarakhand. This is the story of Henry, our pet chameleon. Now you know who Henry is. Chameleons are no ordinary reptiles. They are easily distinguished by certain outstanding marks from their nearest relatives, the lizards. A chameleon's tongue is as long as its body. On its head is a rigid crest. Rigid meaning hard. Crest is the skin on top of a bird or animal's head. Okay, and a chameleon, of course, is a lizard like creature with a long tail and can change its color. On its head is a rigid crest which looks like a fireman's helmet. Its limbs are long and slender, thin, and its fingers and toes are more developed than those of other reptiles. Many people believe that the chameleon is a dangerous and poisonous reptile. When grandfather was visiting a friend, he came upon a noisy scene at the garden gate. Men were shouting, hurling, that means throwing something with strength, hurling stones, and brandishing sticks. Brandishing means shaking or waving something. The cause of all this was a chameleon who had been discovered sunning himself on a shrub. The gardener declared that it was a thing capable of poisoning people at a distance of 20 feet, and as a result, the entire household had risen in arms. In arms? Risen in arms. That means the entire household was angry and protesting about it. They had to do something about it. That's what a chameleon looks like. Not always that color because it has the ability to change color to suit its surroundings. What is a chameleon? A chameleon is a slow moving lizard with a long tongue and protruding eyes. It has the ability to change color. The one you see in the picture is really beautiful, isn't it? Grandfather was in time to save the chameleon from certain death and brought the little reptile home. That chameleon was Henry, and that was how he came to live with us. Henry was a harmless creature, provided I was patient that means not in a rush. Henry was willing to take food from my hands. This he did very swiftly. His tongue was the sort which came back to him with the food, an insect attached to it. Before I could realize what had happened, the grasshopper held between my fingers would be lodged between Henry's jaws. Lodged, caught there between his jaws. Do you know this? Which word in the paragraph is the opposite, the antonym or opposite of slowly? Swiftly. Henry did not cause trouble in our house, but he did create something like a riot. Oh my, what's a riot? A situation in which a group of people make a lot of noise and trouble. So he did cause that. In the nursery school down the road, it happened like this. When the papayas in our garden were ripe, grandmother usually sent a basket of them to her friend Mrs. Ghosh, who was the principal of the nursery school. You can see her in the picture. On this occasion, Henry managed to smuggle meaning move secretly and silently, into the basket of papayas when no one was looking. The gardener, dutifully doing his duty, carried the papayas across to the school and took them into Mrs. Ghosh's office. When Mrs. Ghosh came in after making her rounds, she began admiring and examining the papayas. You can see her there. Out popped Henry. And as you can see, he's green in color. Why? Because he was sitting in that basket of papayas and had turned green just like them. So obviously, she never noticed him until he jumped out of that basket. Mrs. Ghosh screamed. Henry would probably have liked to blush a deep red. He would have liked to turn red and blush like we all blush. But he turned a bright green instead, as that was the color of the papayas. Mrs. Ghosh's assistant, Miss Daniels, rushed in. She wondered why the principal was screaming, so she rushed in, took one look at the chameleon, and joined in the screaming. Now there were two ladies screaming. Henry took fright. Now Henry got absolutely crazy. He was so scared, so afraid, and fled from the office, ran away, running down the corridor and into one of the classrooms. Now you can imagine what happened next. There he climbed onto a desk. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? He climbed onto a desk while the children ran in all directions, some to get away from Henry and some to catch him. And children sometimes just like creating problems. So even if they don't want to catch him or don't want to run away from him, they like a bit of excitement in their lives. So they would just run around the classroom just for fun. But Henry made his exit through a window and disappeared into the garden. Grandmother heard all about the incident, all about what happened from Mrs. Ghosh, but did not tell her that the chameleon was ours. Why? There would be more problems. I did not think Henry would find his way back to us because the school was 3 houses away. But 3 days later, I found him sunning himself on the garden wall and he readily accepted some food from my hand. So, what happened? Henry came back. Interesting story, isn't it? If you enjoyed the story, you might enjoy this one as well. And after you have checked out that story too, and you feel that you are getting some value out of all these lessons, do consider subscribing as that would help me. Until we meet again, I'll say bye.